Esteemed judges, fellow delegates, all protocols observed, ladies and gentlemen, our discussion today is one that resonates deeply. Our discussion today is one that resonates deeply, considering the challenges that face us as a country. But by the end of this, I, Latifa, would give everyone a strong reason to stand for the motion: a stronger dictatorship is better than a weaker democracy. Dictatorship in this context is a form of government where power is concentrated in the hands of an individual or a group of people with little or no limitations, whereas democracy is a form of government where power is vested in the people who exercise it directly or through elected representatives. With this given, my opponent should acknowledge that it is only dictatorship that can help a country like Ghana. It is only dictatorship that can help a country like Ghana to stay disciplined and navigate its challenges. You all would agree with me that democracy in developing countries are weak, have weaker system, and hence indiscipline is high. Look at Ghana. The indiscipline in our sanitation, road usage, and work ethic is high. Meanwhile, no leader is willing to fix it because he is only thinking about how to win the next elections. Because he's only thinking about how to win the next elections. Judges, I know that a dictator who does not even care about your votes instill rules and regulations that will bring about this discipline. Example is Singapore, where rules has been set for people to keep the environment clean, else penalties will be faced. Judges, my opponents here might argue that coup is one of the effects of dictatorship. We can use the story of democracy, we can use the story of Burkina Faso, where a dictatorship took place in 2022, and another dictator overthrown him in 2023. To tell you the truth, these are sponsored by Western democratic nations who use democracy to push their purpose to leadership so they can lose African resources. Come to think of it, most of the highest level of dictatorship comes from most of the highest level of political instability comes from dictatorship. Thank you.
A very good evening to you all, ladies and gentlemen, panel of judges, honorable guests. Tonight, I am being presented with a very thought-provoking motion, of which I firmly oppose. And I quote, "A stronger dictatorship is better than a weaker democracy." Imagine living in a society whereby only one person makes all the rules, and freedom is nothing but a distant dream. I'm sure we've all had experiences whereby our opinions were not taken into consideration, and it sure doesn't feel good. Ladies and gentlemen, Tonight, my name is Miss Melanie Augustine, and I do not accept this motion. I believe that no form of dictatorship is better than democracy. A strong democracy is whereby absolute power is being given to a single leader with no legal institution, whereas a weaker democracy is whereby the citizens have the right to elect their own leader, but then they have struggling institutions. Firstly, democracy, whether flawed or full, is still democracy. Therefore, it is the best self-governance system taking care of the needs of its individuals and citizens. It demands accountability, transparency, checks and balances, and also reduces corruption. Secondly, the Economics Intelligence Unit notes that out of 167 countries, 96 are democratic states. The United States of America, Germany, Sweden, Japan have demonstrated how democracy protects the fundamental human rights and liberties of individuals. It guarantees freedom of speech, assembly, liberty, and then it promotes peaceful transitioning of powers as seen in Ghana's elections. My last point, despite democracy's imperfections, there's always room for improvement. A typical relevant case study is that of our own country, Ghana. Post-independence in 1957, where Ghana was under a dictatorship rule from the military regimes. We all know what happened. Curfews here and there. You dare not speak to criticize the government. Since the introduction of democratic rule in 1992, Ghana has seen better days. You agree? There has been improvement in our economic growth, fundamental human rights. There has also been much more peace, and as it stands, Ghana is one of the leading peaceful countries in the whole of Africa. The problem with dictatorships is not that they cannot be good. It is the fact that when they come into power, they cannot be easily taken out without chaos and violence. When they come to power, they cannot be easily taken out without chaos and violence. The justification that dictators are superheroes is completely fallacies and non-existent beyond all practical purposes. Panel of judges, ladies and gentlemen, the justification that all these discipline that my opponent was talking about does not take place in Ghana due to all these sanitation problems, it's a complete lie. Are we not here? The growth and development of Ghana does not lie in the confines of a dictator, but in the strengthening of democratic institutions, promoting transparency and empowering citizens. Let us all uphold the values of democracy as we strive for a better, brighter future for our beloved country, Ghana. Thank you.
So my opponent mentioned that the discipline that I was talking about, that's nothing good, but I want to let her know that say Oman Beya Efriyanara. So that discipline that the dictator instills in us is an example, Singapore. Their dictator instilled regulations so that they maintain a clean environment. So what I would like to tell my opponent is that it is what the leaders will instill in us that today is not my day, I can tell God.
Can you have a seat, please?
Okay, sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this 21st century, where diversity, equity, equity and inclusion is regarded globally. My proposition is completely on the wrong side of history as she supports this motion in 2024. She only made one point, and which is dictatorships ensure discipline. And that is not even true. Well, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Obviously, dictators lack mechanisms to ensure accountability, so how can they even ensure these disciplines? Panel of judges, ladies and gentlemen, I rest my case.
Let's do it better for the ladies one more time. Ladies, kindly